here to do my, I guess you would call it like my January reset. I'm gonna actually call these edits because they're just always gonna be moving, and I'm excited to kind of see where they end up. And yeah, so I wanted to go through all of the things that I mentioned in my what I will be doing each month. And basically, I'm gonna attempt to get these up the first week of that following month. But months like this where it's just a little bit later, that's fine too. I'm not gonna like stress myself out to get them at a certain time. But because I didn't announce this until into January, I figured it's totally fine to be doing it now. The things that I'm mentioning are the things that I have accomplished or done in January, and I will not be including February's things, if that makes sense. Things. For the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the reading. So I know I mentioned in my other video how difficult it is for me to actually sit down and read for many different reasons. I wish that it was something that like made me calm and relax, but it's just not. I am ADHD and I have a hard time like focusing on things. So to do Audible and like Libby, any audiobook type of thing really works for me. And because I work remotely and I'm constantly on a screen, I typically will have like a show playing. And what I've been doing is trying to break that habit and actually listening to a book or a podcast rather than that. So that has been so good. And I have noticed a big like difference in my mental space as well when I'm doing that versus when I'm just watching like random things. So that's been really good. And the books that I finished in the month of January were House of My Mother, which was by Sherry Frankie. And if you are in the YouTube sphere, you probably know about like family vloggers. And, you know, I'm not going to go too in depth about it because I want you to support her and read the book as well. It is a well-written book. It's devastating to read the reality of what their lives were like. I mean, it is heartbreaking. I think that if you have a vlog channel that is centered around children, it just feels like that's got to be hard to create boundaries and balance because it's like they're kids. I mean, I think about all of the things that occur in a day with my children and how difficult it would be. I've had, you know, we do Vlogmas, we do things where like I will capture daily bits, but it's centered around like me living my life, and then the kids are just added little features. And yeah, I think that it's different when it's the kid center and then the parents are featured, if that makes sense. So I'd love to know what you guys think about that. I have had some friends that have done it and stopped doing it. And then like I used to do like weekly vlogs and stuff, but since all of this kind of started like billowing to the surface, you kind of start to realize like the reality of what it is looking like for some people. And it's just not what I wanted for my family. It also meant that my channel took a big chunk because I would get sponsorships and offers and I would decline them because I wasn't going to have my kids at the forefront. And so once I made that switch, because I was becoming more educated in this sphere, I lost sponsorships. I lost monetization. So it kind of was like, oh, that really is real. It really is real. Like if you say, no, I'm not going to put my kid in the video, because like some of the things say you need to have your kid in for X amount of time. I mean, that makes me feel so uncomfortable. Like, why would I need to do that? So I don't know. It kind of removed the veil for me a lot of the times for the family vlogging, and it made me realize like, oh my gosh, this is like an issue, you know? I won't say that I'm like perfect at it. I have a hard time because I enjoy having these videos and my channel is like a journal. And so I do like having them in there because I like to kind of see where they're at in these periods of time and like me as a mom. But I don't know, I don't feel like, you know, I've always asked people like, what do you think? And they're always like, no, your channel is about you. And then the kids are maybe like in the background, or, you know, they may pop in. Yeah, I'm interested to know your thoughts and what you think. And it's important to me because that's how this works, right? Yeah, I don't want to go too in depth because I'm already talking about this for too long, but the book is really good. Make sure that you are supporting her. I do have to say thank you to Sherry for sharing, because I think that even before all this stuff hit, obviously, I stopped really vlogging the kids a lot when Polly, like, I think she was like 1. You never think about something like that because I was like an OG YouTuber where you just like put on of thing and you just like spliced and then you put it up. There wasn't all this, and there wasn't all this money. Like, it's like wild to me how much money these people are making off their children. Anyways, I digress, okay? That could be a whole other video. But the other books that I read were The Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. Read both of those. Very good, very easy reads. And super, super fun to read. And I needed the escape of life after about mid-January. So yeah, I fully just went into like Dragon World because it was better than hearing what was happening at the time, which obviously I was still paying attention to everything, and I still am, but you know, it was like a good reprieve from the insanity that is constantly happening daily. And so it really good. I mean, if you're like offended by like a bit smut and stuff, then don't read it. Definitely don't. But if you enjoy a bit, like a little bit sprinkled in, you know, and just writing that's kind of like makes you feel like you're in a movie, she does a really good job of that. And so then that was really good. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to spoil it for anyone that wants to read it, but it's really good. And it just kind of like is just whole fantasy world, right? And super cool because it's like a feminine, like super feminine strength character, and a love story and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? The other book that I read that I loved was The Let Them Theory, and I loved that book. I know that some people are like not being nice about Mel Robbins. I don't know. I've been seeing like some social media stuff that I'm like, ew, don't do that. But I love how Mel Robbins explains things. I love how I like to call it like a perfect package. She kind of gives you the heart of the lesson and then gives you ways to incorporate it, and then wraps it up with like what you can do in your life that are like easy ways to incorporate this theory. I love that she researches all of her theories. She deep dives and she like lives it before she shares it. And I love that she shares like her vulnerabilities and when in like really ways that she has failed that has gotten her here. And one of the parts of the book, she says like, I wish that I had this theory when I was a mom and like raising kids, because I let so much of like how I was perceiving the situation dictate how I was parenting. And now I would just, you know, there's been a certain times where I'm like, oh my gosh, this would have really helped me when they were younger or anything like that. And I really loved that because I feel like it's so difficult in this world to kind of, I don't know, it feels like raising kids right now is I know it's always been hard, but I just feel like there's so many other components that we've never had to deal with. And so I try so hard to be like super centered in how I'm parenting and not, I tend to kind of go with my fear sometimes with parenting and decisions. And I'm really trying to like go back into it and be like, okay, but what's right for this child? And not all 3 of my children are the same. And so I don't know, I really love it. And I love having the theory to kind of move through my life with now and use it in the way that makes sense for me. I had somebody responded like to something where it was like, you know, I feel like this is kind of a scapegoat theory, and I disagree. I feel like you didn't read the book if you feel that way, because I feel like actually this is exactly the stuff that people like me need to hear. This is like the bread and butter of like how we have to like move past that people pleasing and trying to, you know, that FOMO or wanting to be a part of everything and realizing that like you play a part in not being a part, you know? And some people are just jerks. I mean, that also happens. And I think that's also part of it is like you have to come to it and be like, okay, but what can I glean from this, you know? And either you're gonna glean that this person's a jerk and I don't even want to be a part of their lives, or you're gonna glean that like, oh, what part did I play in this? And where do I need to apologize? And then you see where it goes, right? So I don't know. I love that book. If you are kind of needing a book like that, read it. I really loved it. And it was a really easy read. I mean, I think I read it in like a day or two, literally. I just listened to it on Audible while I was working. So really good. All right, this video is getting a little long and I really don't want to have to edit it too much. So kind of just pop through the next ones. Move with me. I have been working out twice a week at the gym. So I did that for a full 2 weeks now. And then I want to add like a walking day because it's getting super nice and it's not super cold or anything. I mean, super cold. I live in Florida. Like, I'm really excited to get back to my beach walks, but it's been really windy. So I haven't been able to do that. So I would like this week to add like a walking day as well as the gym days. So that's what I typically used to do. When I was in better shape, I would do 2 walking days and 2 gym days. I mean, you know, as a mom, you're always moving and you're cleaning your house and you're doing all these things. So I have to be very strategic with my time. And when I'm not, or when I have to be at the school or a field trip or something, obviously it takes up that time. But like yesterday we were at the Orlando Science Center, we walked all day long. So I'm like, okay, well that was like a walking day, right? Like, do you count that? I feel like I do. And then journaling. So journaling, I have to be honest, it's been hard. Like I sit down every morning to have my coffee, but I will like forget to either grab my journal or I'll think about it and I'm like, I just don't want to right now. I'm doing at least every other day. So that's been good and that's felt good. And I honestly am just kind of like just letting it lead me, because if you know me, you know that if I don't want to do something and I do it, I end up hating it. So I'm like, I'm just kind of taking all of these things and integrating them, but like not having like a rigid, you have to do this, Stephanie, because then I will most definitely sabotage it. And that is just a me problem. The other thing was budget. Okay, so we are still working through our budget and it has taken a while. We had sickness, we had this, we had that. There's so many excuses, but the reality is we just haven't made time for it. But the goals we set for ourselves, we did accomplish, which I'm really proud of us. We had no-buy days, multiple no-buy days. We had a whole no-buy weekend, and we have cut our spending almost in half from December and even the beginning of January. So from like basically mid-January to now, we have literally cut it almost in half, which is really good. And we haven't been eating out as much. If we do eat out, we're very conscientious of like where we're eating and, you know, what we're spending. We're still enjoying it. Like I don't want like this rigid thing, because I mean, we are human and there are times where it's just convenient and that's just the reality. But we're definitely doing a lot better than we were. And that to me is a success. So yeah, I don't know the numbers, but definitely better. We also did a lot better with our grocery budget. We saved about $250 this month. So that felt really good. And that was because we just did Aldi. And then if we did Publix, like I said, we just did BOGO. And then we ate at home and like we have made it stretch. Like we are just now like, oh my gosh, we have to get groceries. So that has been really good. And I'm really proud of us for that, because we did have extra expenses this month. Bought the kids new bikes to them. We bought them secondhand, but still that was quite a bit of money. And then we had baseball and softball and jujitsu and dance, all of that stuff coming out. So yeah, there was quite a bit of money spent in extra things. So it felt good to save a little bit in the grocery department. So yeah, that's really good. And I'm proud of us for that. So it was a pretty good month. I mean, I want to get even better, like I said, and I want to get like the budget ironed out and everything. It felt good to do those things and already make those advancements towards, you know, being better. And then I'm trying to think of the other things that we had. As far as I know, I shared with my like partial update video, I shared that the hobby or the recipe that I tried was the artisan bread. It was so good. It's by Preppy Kitchen, My Preppy Kitchen. And it is so good. And so that was the recipe we tried. We also tried a new soup recipe, which I had linked in my last video. So I will link that video so you can see it. And it was really yummy. So that was really good. So I felt good that we did like 2 different recipes that were new. I'd like to like add more, but like I said, this month was kind of crazy because we had a lot of sickness. The flu went through our house, all the things. So yeah, it was a crazy month. And then I think that's everything. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. But yeah, I think that's everything. I wanted to kind of end on some questions for you to answer in the comments, and then I will answer them in my next video. I thought that might be fun. And basically because I just want you guys, I want to hear from you guys, like, what are you guys doing to kind of make new changes for the new year? How are we feeling? What are you doing to provide, you know, comfort for yourself and keep your mental space, you know, zen? I think that right now, no matter who you are, it feels heavy. Life feels a little bit heavy, and in America, it's a little bit crazy right now. And no matter where you're coming from, there is a lot of uncertainty, and it just feels a bit wiry. And so I'm wondering, like, what are you doing to kind of keep you like grounded and focused in your family and in your life, while still being aware of what's happening? But yeah, I'm just wondering what that looks like, and what is something, since it's February, what is something you're loving about your life? And I will share my answers in my February edit. So yeah, thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you next time. Love your faces.